Zahabi, what is your take on mental strength and overcoming judgment of others? Well, that's a great topic, but listen, I'm gonna talk about this topic, and I'll tell you why. I think it's so important because in today's day and age, everybody's so offended all the time. Everybody is so offended all the time. It's really getting out of control. Now, here's my take on it. Okay, let's say I'm walking down the street and somebody looks at me and says, "Hey, you're an Arab terrorist, FYZ, whatever." Okay, which is, believe it or not, it's happened to me. I know it's weird, but believe it. It happens. Okay, so what do you do? What do you do? Do you get angry? Do you get upset? I personally don't get upset. And what do? I tell myself, look, that guy has a problem. He's ignorant. He's whatever he is. Okay, he's prejudiced. He's all these things. I don't suffer from that. If I did, I don't think that would improve my life. I feel sorry for him. He has to go through life with these, how do you say, what do you call them? These vices. Let's call them a vice, okay? And now we all have a level of, we all have ignorance. We're all, nobody knows everything, etc. But this guy's, this guy would be displaying a level of ignorance that's shocking. That's shocking. It's just like pathetic. Let's call it pathetic. Now, what do? I ignore them. I avoid them. I do everything I can not to cross paths with these people. But if we do cross paths, he might find himself in danger, because I'm the type of guy, I'll walk away from you. But if you follow me and you harass me, well, then, you're probably going to have a very bad day. You're probably going to have a very, very bad day. Why? Because I feel that this is a threat. It becomes a threat to me. Like, I have my space, you have your space. I'm trying to avoid you. I know people out there, they're racist. I know people out there are bigots. I know there are people out there that have their vices and they have to go throughout life. Life is going to teach them a lesson here and there. And I think, over time, vices are bad for you. So I'm just worried about whatever vices I have. And I have my own personal vices that I have to struggle with. So when I see somebody, I'll be honest with you, when somebody does something ignorant or bad, I always ask myself, what have I done like that in the past? And I can always find an example where I might have been in the wrong. Okay, I have been in the wrong. And that's it. I just focus on me. I just want to eliminate all my vices. Why? I really believe that a good person, you cannot harm them. You just cannot harm them. It's really all your harm that ever came to you in your life. This is my narrative. This is a narrative that I live by, is due to one personal vice of many. Okay, so one vice will bring you some harm over time. So how many vices do you have? Well, we have countless. All of us have countless vices. And we have to weed them out. And I'm just focused on weeding out my vices, weeding out my ignorance, weeding out my bad habits, weeding out my bad thoughts. That guy has to take care of himself. I can't take care of him. I got too many of my own to deal with. I think that's a really important attitude. Because if somebody were to come up to me and insult me, and they're not in my private space, I don't feel I have to defend myself physically, I just ignore them. But it does happen that I lose my temper and talk back. That does happen. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect. Like I said, I'm full of vices. But I hope that in the future, I'll always avoid that as much as possible. I don't want to end up in prison or, the matter's going to escalate. Try to avoid all this, guys. Try to avoid it all at all costs. Avoid this at all costs. It's not worth it. And at the end of the day, that guy's just got his own personal problems. He's just projecting his own self-hatred. He's projecting his own. Anyways, this is the narrative I live by because, especially when you go to different areas, like in Canada, it's very safe. It's weird, but Canada is very polite, very kind, very friendly. People here are generally very, very nice in Canada. When you go to other countries, I'm not going to name which country, but there are some countries out there that are more like, and countries are big, and there's a variety of people, there's a variety of cultures out there. Other cultures, sometimes I'm surprised how people don't have the courtesy that I'm used to here in Canada. And it's surprising to me, but then I have to remind myself, not everybody has the same culture, not everybody has the same point of views, etc. So that's how I deal with that. I just ignore them. I feel sorry for them. I think that it's a personal setback for them personally in their own life. How to have a good character? Well, that's a great question. That's a tough one. I think a lot of self-examination. Everything that somebody were to do to offend you or annoy you, ask yourself, did I ever do that to someone else? How do I want other people to treat me? That's how I should treat everybody. Do I live up to that standard? I think it's a very important question. Somebody who's very sincere in their life is going to ask themselves all the time. You know, if somebody offends you, ask yourself, have I ever done this to someone else? And I bet you, if you think really hard, you're going to find an instance where you were on the flip side. You had offended somebody, you probably didn't know it, and that person felt that certain way. I think this is very important. You know, a type of empathy, a universal empathy for everyone. Coach, how do you maintain daily discipline? That's a great one. Training has to be addictive. Okay, you have to. How do people get fat? Well, they go in a restaurant, they eat food. The food is enjoyable, and it's not hard to say yes to some more because it was fun. It was enjoyable. I sat down. I had steak. I had potatoes, and unless I'm totally stuffed, every bite is enjoyment. You know, after I'm stuffed, okay, I can't eat anymore. I passed the point where it's enjoyable. But training can be the same way. When I go in the training room and I start training, there's a point where you get high. You know, you feel like high levels of energy. You feel like, wow, you feel more alert. You feel better than when you started working out. So I love to do this in the morning. I take my bag, I take my gloves, I go on the bag, I start working the bag. There's a point where I start feeling a high, I feel that energy grew. So if I was a 7 before I went in, 7 on 10 of energy, 10 being like super high and alert. And when I get to 8, 8.2, 8.3, I cut the workout. That's it. Stop the workout while you're feeling good. Don't go till you're feeling drained and then you take your shower and you go home. You're like, whoa, I need a nap. I'm drained. Don't go to that point. Go and feel good. Chat with your buddies. Talk. Hey, what's going on? How are you? Did you guys ever see a Floyd Mayweather workout? Floyd Mayweather's been working out since he could walk. Okay, don't forget, this guy went to the University of Boxing. He didn't go to school like you and me. Okay, he went to boxing. He grew up in boxing. Okay, for him to go in and do a workout maybe is a little bit boring because he's done it a million times. What does he do? He brings his whole crew. They're talking, they're joking, they're laughing, they're putting music, they're dancing, they're doing. Why? They're making it's a party. You understand? Now, I'm not saying you have to go to that extent, but when you go to the gym, you should like the people you're training with. Okay, it's still with seriousness. Like when I go to practice, it's still very serious. But you like the people you're training with. They're not trying to hurt you. They're your friends. They're buddies. We go to eat after. We hang out. We joke around. We're friendly with one another. I like to go to the gym, guys. I'll be honest with you. I have a wife and kids. When after they come home from school, I feed them. I hang out with them. I train my kids. I sit with my wife. I chat with her. But I can't sit home and watch TV. For me, it's too boring. I train my kids, I take care of them, we hang out, but then I go to the gym. That's my fun time. That's where I hang out with my friends. We wrestle, we spar, we go over chokeholds, we chill. Then I go home, shower, eat, sleep, whatever. But that's my fun time. Guys, you got to find something you like. It might not be jiu-jitsu, it might not be MMA, but find something you absolutely love. I don't care if it's racquetball, soccer. It shouldn't be a matter of discipline. It shouldn't be a matter of cracking the whip. Now, that's for fighters, okay? That's for fighters who have to push further. And they've reached a point where they want to go home. They've had enough, but we're going to keep training. And we're doing it because we need to hit new levels. This is not for the everyday Joe. You don't have to train through the pain. Okay, don't go to the gym and destroy the body. Go to the gym and build the body. That's a great way to think about it. Okay, don't break down the body in the gym. Build the body. Have fun, enjoyment. And guess what? When you enjoy something, you do it more often. Okay, it shouldn't be hard to go to the gym. Find the gym you love to go to. Find a friend you love to train with. Find a gym that's it. When the teacher's teaching you something, you're mesmerized. When I go train with John Denahar and he teaches me something, I'm locked in, man. I'm like, wow, what is that? I'm so fascinated. If you're with your instructor and he's boring you. The stuff he's showing you is the same thing all the time, and it's just not interesting. This may kill your drive. Motivation is key when it comes to training, guys. Motivation is monstrously important. Monstrously important.